Okay, I'd like to welcome all of you to our 48th session of the Hawaii County Council. We are here at the Hawaii County Building. It is now 9:07 a.m. in the morning. I ask you to please turn off all your communication devices or put them on the silent mode. This morning, we're fortunate to have Jacob Bratton of the Hilo Salvation Army Temple Court giving us our invocation. Welcome.
Thank you. If you'd like to bow your heads with me before we start this today. Lord, we want to thank you for this opportunity. The opportunity where people can get together to discuss issues and differences, and where we can find solutions to those. We pray over this meeting today that your hand is over it, that your guidance and wisdom pours out over to every single person here, and even to those that could not attend. We pray that in and through this meeting, that your will be done here on this island, that in these times of trials and tribulations, through struggles from volcanoes to hurricanes to fires to everything that happens on this world, Lord, we know that you're here and with us and that you can guide us through it. Again, we pray over the things that are discussed here at this meeting, that you give us the ability to go about it with calm and cool heads. You help us to understand each other's viewpoints, to accept those, and to still move forward. We thank you for all of these things, and we pray all of this in your mighty and precious name.
Mahalo. Thank you. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Mr. Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Chung? Ms. David? Here. Ms. Yoff? Here. Mr. Kanuha? Here. Ms. Liloy? Ms. O'Hara? Mr. Richards? Here. Ms. Ruggles? Chairpoint Dexter? Here. Chairpoint Dexter, 6 members are present.
Yes, Councilmember Liloy and Councilmember O'Hara should be joining us shortly. Councilmember Ruggles sent in a letter, so she will be absent today. Okay, at this time, we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilmember David, will you please do us the honor?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. Now we move to our statements from the public on agenda items. I'd like to check in Kona. How many testifiers in Kona?
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Kona or Puna? Sorry.
Kona, sorry.
I apologize.
Good morning, Madam Chair. We have 4 testifiers here in Kona.
4 testifiers in Kona. Okay. And Kohala, do we have any testifiers?
Aloha, Chair. I have 1 testifier and 1 observer.
Thank you very much. In Waimea, any testifiers?
Good morning, Madam Chair. I have 5 testifiers.
5 testifiers. Okay. In Hilo, we have 14 testifiers. In Pahoa?
Morning, Chairpoint Dexter. I have 2 testifiers in Pahoa.
Thank you. In Ka'u?
Morning, Madam Chair. We have no testifiers.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to start in Kona with your first 2 testifiers, and while Kona, we'll call up Kale Gumapak to get ready here and Keone Kalave to come to the testifiers table to get ready. Do we have... Okay, Kona, your 2 testifiers, please.
Okay, our first testifier this morning is Pamela Sokak to comment on Bill 160, to be followed by Robert Freitas, also to comment on Bill 160.
Okay, and before you get started, you will be notified on your, when you have 30 seconds to summarize. Here in Hilo, you will hear a bell that will let you know so that I don't have to speak and interrupt you. You'll hear a bell that says, that will signify that you have 30 seconds to summarize. And in the other sites, they will notify you on your 30 seconds to summarize. So please state your name for the record and then proceed.
I'm Pamela Sokach, and this is a testimony for Bill number 160, Code of Ethics. I'm a United States citizen, and I'm a healthcare practitioner, and I reside in South Kona, Captain Cook. As a United States citizen, I'm a protected person as defined by international criminal law in the Tadek judgment of 1999 by the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia Appeals Chamber, which stated that civilians who are nationals of the occupying state are also protected persons because their allegiance while residing in the occupied state is, in this case, owed to the Hawaiian Kingdom and not the United States. Allegiance to the Hawaiian Kingdom by resident aliens is stated in Section 3, Chapter 6 of the Hawaiian Kingdom Penal Code. I too have come to learn that the Hawaiian Kingdom continues to exist as an independent and sovereign state that has been under an illegal, and prolonged occupation by the United States since January 17, 1893. I am also aware that the United Nations independent expert, Dr. Alfred Desaias, sent a memorandum to the members of the State of Hawaii Judiciary, which stated international laws, the Hague and Geneva Conventions, require that governance and legal matters within the occupied territory of the Hawaiian Islands must be administered by the application of the laws of the occupied state, in this case, the Hawaii Kingdom, not the domestic laws of the occupier, the United States. And according to Amnesty International, war crimes are crimes that violate the laws or customs of war defined by the Hague and Geneva Conventions. Article 43 of the Hague Regulations and Article 64 of the Fourth Geneva Convention obligates the United States to administer Hawaii Kingdom law, not United States law. This deliberate failure by the United States to administer Hawaiian Kingdom law has led to grave breaches under Article 147 of the Fourth Geneva Convention and international humanitarian law, which constitutes war crimes committed against me as a protected person. This body illegally enacts United States laws in violation of the Hague and Geneva Conventions, and as a victim of war crimes that stem from this unlawful legislation, I demand that this body immediately cease and desist.
My name is Robert Freitas Jr., and I am testifying on behalf of Bill 160. I am a Hawaiian subject. I am retired, and I currently reside in Kalawa, Kona. As a Hawaiian subject, I am a protected person as defined under Article 4 of the 1949 Fourth Geneva Convention. I too have come to learn that the Hawaiian Kingdom continues to exist as an independent sovereign state that has been under an illegal and prolonged occupation by the United States since January 17, 1893. I am also aware that the United Nations independent expert, Dr. Alfred Desaias, sent a memorandum to members of the State of Hawaii Judiciary, which stated international laws, the Hague and Geneva Conventions, require that governance and legal matters within the occupied territory of the Hawaiian Islands must be administered by the applications of laws of the occupied state, in this case, the Hawaiian Kingdom, not the domestic laws of the occupier, the United States. And according to Amnesty International, war crimes are crimes that violate the laws of or customs of war defined by the Hague and Geneva Conventions. Article 43 of the Hague Regulations and Article 64 of the Fourth Geneva Convention obligates the United States to administer Hawaiian Kingdom law, not United States law. This deliberate failure by the United States to administer Hawaiian Kingdom law has led to grave breaches under Article 147 of the Fourth Geneva Convention and international humanitarian law, which constitutes war crimes committed against me, a protected person. This body illegally enacts The civilians who are nationals of the occupying state are also protected persons because their allegiance while residing in the occupied state is, in this case, owed to the Hawaiian Kingdom and not the United States. Allegiance to the Hawaiian Kingdom by resident aliens is stated in Section 3, Chapter 4, Chapter 6 of the Hawaiian Kingdom Penal Code. In 2015, Hawaii County Council was made aware of the Hawaiian Kingdom via Testimonial Resolution 185-15, and on June 2nd, 2015, you voted unanimously recognizing La Ho'iho'i'ea, Sovereignty Restoration Day, as a holiday. Why didn't the council members ask Corporation Counsel for legal opinion at that time? In 2016, several of us that included Dr. Keanu Sai, Mr. Kali Gumapak, and myself met with council members Karen Eoff and Miley Maderas David, where Dr. Sai provided both council members with the same information that was provided to Council Member Rugos.
Please summarize.
Why didn't you, Karen Eoff, or you, Miley Maderas David, ask Corporation Counsel for a legal opinion at the time either? It is also important to note that Council Member Rugos did not ask Corporation Counsel Kamehameha for his personal assumption and or opinion. She asked for a legal opinion based on applicable laws. Over the years, in many of our testimonies before the County Council, many of us have been providing a lot of this information to you over and over again. So for any of you to say that you were unaware that Hawaii is illegally occupied or that war crimes are being committed is a blatant lie, and you know it. Do you realize that once you are made aware of the truth and you ignore it, that makes you an accessory to the lies, which in this situation makes all of your accessories to the war crimes that have been and are continuing to be committed? Do you realize that you are about to commit another war crime, but continue to enact United States laws in violation of the Hague and Geneva Convention, and as a victim of war crimes that stem from this unlawful legislation, I demand that this body immediately cease and desist.
Thank you for your testimony. Now we will go to Kohala with your one testifier.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to introduce Gail Perez. She will be representing Kohala Kupuna Council, and she's going to discuss everything on the council agenda except for 160-D2. So she would like 3 minutes for her statement and then 3 minutes to address 160-D2, and I've asked her to let us know when she transitions.
Okay, so are you saying that she just 3 minutes at first, and then we'll restart the timer and then give her another 3 minutes?
Yes, Chair, with your
on
approval.
two separate. Okay, thank you.
Okay, please restate your name for the record.
My name is Gail Perez. I am a kupuna in the Kupuna Council of Kohala. This testimony, it pertains to everything on the agenda, but I want to transition to 160 for the ethical. This testimony is in support of Councilwoman Jen Ruggles on war crimes committed in Hawaii and the UN Human Rights Letter on the U.S. occupation in Hawaii. I am a retired early educator, home visitor, and I currently reside in Kohala, Hawaii. As a Hawaiian subject, I am a protected person defined under Article 4 of the 1949 Fourth Geneva Convention. I too have come to learn that the Hawaiian Kingdom continues to exist as an independent and sovereign state that has been under an illegal and prolonged occupation by the United States since January 17, 1893. I'm also aware that the United Nations independent expert, Dr. Alfred de Zayas, sent a memorandum to the members of the state of
Excuse
Hawaii
me, just one second. I just need some clarification. So your testimony, even on the next agenda item, will be basically the same thing, right? Correct? You're just continuing.
Yes.
Okay. If I knew that early on, I would just give you the 3 minutes. But since I already gave you the 6, I will allow that. But thereafter, it's going to be based on a specific item on the agenda as our rule states. So thank you very much. Continue.
I understand. Okay, realize that. Hawaii Judiciary, which stated international laws, the Hague and Geneva Conventions required that governance and illegal matters within the occupied territory of the Hawaiian Islands must be administered by the application of the laws of the state, in this case, the Hawaiian Kingdom, not the domestic laws of the occupier, the United States. And according to Amnesty International, war crimes are crimes and violate the laws or customs of war defined by the Hague and Geneva Conventions. Article 43 of the Hague Regulations and Article 64 of the Fourth Geneva Convention obligates the United States to administer Hawaiian Kingdom law, has led to grave breaches under Article 147 of the Fourth Geneva Convention, an international humanitarian law which constitutes war crimes committed against me as a protected person. This body illegally enacts that civilians who are nationals of the occupying state are also protected persons because their allegiance while residing in the occupied state is, in this case, owed to the Hawaiian Kingdom and not the United States. Allegiance to the Hawaiian Kingdom by resident aliens is stated in Section 3, Chapter 6 of the Hawaiian Kingdom Penal Code. This body illegally enacts United States laws in violation of the Hague and Geneva Conventions. And as victim of war crimes that stem from this unlawful legislation, I demand that this body immediately cease and desist.
Please transition.
So I transition to 160. Thank you.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay, no more testimony
Yeah,
from you.
yeah, because
Okay.
it's the same thing.
Thank you.
Chair.
Thank you for your testimony. Okay, so we go to Waimea, your first two testifiers, please.
Aloha Makako. My name is Rama McIntosh. This testimony is for Bill 160 Code of Ethics. My name is Rama McIntosh. I'm a United States citizen. I'm a software engineer and I currently reside in Waimea. As United States citizens, I am a protected person as defined by international criminal law and the Tadic judgment of 1909 by the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia. Yugoslavia Appeals Chamber, which stated that civilians who are nationals of the occupying state are also protected persons because their allegiance while residing in the occupied state, in this case, owed to the Hawaiian Kingdom and not the United States. Allegiance to the Hawaiian Kingdom by resident aliens is stated in Section 3, Chapter 4 of the Hawaiian Kingdom Penal Code. I too have come to learn that the Hawaiian Kingdom continues to exist as an independent and sovereign state and has been under illegal and prolonged occupation by the United States since January 17, 1893. I'm also aware that the United Nations independent expert, Dr. Alfred Desaias, sent a memorandum to the members of the State of Hawaii Judicial, which stated, international laws, the Hague and Geneva Conventions require that governance and legal matters within the occupied territory of the Hawaiian Islands must be administered by the application of the laws of the occupied state, in this case, the Hawaiian Kingdom, not the domestic laws of the occupier, which is the United States. And according to Amnesty International, war crimes are crimes that violate the laws or customs of war defined by the Hague and Geneva Convention. Article 43 of the Hague Regulations and Article 64 of the Fourth Geneva Convention obligates the United States to administer Hawaiian Kingdom law, not United States law. This deliberate failure by the United States to administer Hawaiian Kingdom law has led to grave breaches under Article 147 of the Fourth Geneva Convention and international humanitarian law, which constitutes war crimes committed against me as a protected person. This body illegally enacts United States laws in violation of the Hague and Geneva Conventions, and as a victim of war crimes that stem from this unlawful legislation, I demand that this body immediately cease and desist. Mahalo.
Aloha. This testimony is for 160 Code of Ethics. My name is Lili'uo Kalani Ross. I am a Hawaiian subject. I am a farmer and the curator of the Ohana o Hawaii. I currently reside in Waimea, Kohala. As a Hawaiian subject, I am protected person as defined under Article 4 of the 1949 Fourth Geneva Convention. I have, with the knowledge that the Hawaiian Kingdom continues to exist as an independent and sovereign state that has been under an illegal and prolonged occupation by the United States since January 17th, 1893. I am also aware that the United States independent expert, Dr. Alfred Desayas, sent a memorandum to members of the State of Hawaii Judiciary, which stated international laws, the Hague and Geneva Conventions, require that governance and legal matters within the occupied territory of the Hawaiian Islands must be administered by the application of the laws of the occupied state, in this case, the Hawaiian Kingdom, not the domestic laws of the occupier, the United States. And according to the Amnesty International, war crimes are crimes that violate the laws or customs of war defined by the Hague and Geneva Convention. Article 43 of the Hague Regulations and Article 64 of the Fourth Geneva Convention obligates the United States to administer Hawaiian Kingdom law, not United States law. This deliberate failure by the United States to administer Hawaiian Kingdom law has led to grave breaches under Article 147 of the Fourth Geneva Convention and international humanitarian law, which constitutes war crimes committed against me as a protected person. This body illegally enacts United States laws in violation of the Hague and Geneva Convention, and as a victim of war crimes that stem from this unlawful legislation, I demand that this body immediately cease and desist.
Okay, we will now come to Hilo, our first two testifiers. If you could state your name for the record and then proceed.
Aloha members of the County Council. My name is Kale Gumapak, and
Excuse me just one second. I ask everybody in the room here, if you want to speak, I ask if you could go outside and speak and not interrupt our testifiers, please. Thank you. You may continue.
Mahalo. This testimony supports Councilwoman Jen Ruggles and the question asked of Corporation Counsel Joseph Kamehameha for a valid legal opinion. I am a Hawaiian Kingdom subject. I am a Hawaiian businessman currently living in Hawaiian Paradise Park. And as a Hawaiian Kingdom subject, I am a protected person under Article 4 of the 1949 Fourth Geneva Convention. A few years ago, I came to learn that the Hawaiian Kingdom continues to exist as an independent and sovereign state. Yes, and that was a surprise to me. That has been under an illegal and prolonged occupation by the United States since January 17, 1893, the overthrow. I'm also aware that the United Nations, Dr. Alfred Desayas, sent a memorandum to all the judges throughout Hawaii, the judicial system, and also to the governor, informing them that international laws, the Hague and Geneva Conventions, require that governance and legal matters within the occupied territory of the Hawaiian Islands must be administered by the application of the laws of the occupied state, in this case, the Hawaiian Kingdom, not the domestic laws of the occupier, which is the United States. According to Amnesty International, war crimes are crimes that violate the laws of or customs of war defined by the Hague and Geneva Conventions, of which the United States signed on to accept the Geneva and the Hague Conventions, which makes it laws here. The Supremacy Clause requires that those laws are the laws of the land. Article 43 of the Hague Regulations and Article 64 of the Fourth Geneva Conventions obligates the U.S. to administer Hawaiian Kingdom law, not U.S. law, and this includes county council. This deliberate failure by the United States to administer Hawaiian Kingdom law has led to grave breaches under Article 147 of the Fourth Geneva Convention and international humanitarian law, which constitutes war crimes committed against me as a protected person. Council members Karen Eoff, Miley David, and Danny Paleka were made aware of this information over 2 years ago by the acting Hawaiian Kingdom Regency and myself, but did not ask the question of Corporation Council. The question is, why not?
Yeah, thank you for your testimony. That was the 3 minutes. Thank you. The bell went off on the summarize.
Oh, I couldn't hear it.
Yeah, thank you for your testimony, though. I just need to be fair across the board. Thank you, sir. State your name for the record and then proceed. Thank you.
Aloha. My name is Keone Kalave, and I'm a Hawaiian subject. I am a kahuna kuhi po'one and currently reside in Puna in U.S.-occupied Hawaii. As a Hawaiian subject, I'm a protected person as defined under Article 4 of the 1949 Fourth Geneva Convention. The United Nations independent expert, Dr. Alfred Desaias, notified the state of Hawaii judiciary to not plunder, enable, or collude, which is prohibited under Article 28 of the 1907 Hague Convention. Dr. Desaias continues to state that I have come to understand that the lawful political status of the Hawaiian Islands is that of a sovereign nation state in continuity, but a nation state that is under a strange form of occupation by the United States, resulting from an illegal military occupation and fraudulent annexation. As such, international laws, the Hague and Geneva Conventions, requires that governance and legal matters within the occupied territory of the Hawaiian Islands must be administered by the application of the laws of the occupied state. In this case, Hawaiian Kingdom law, not domestic laws of the occupier, the United States. This body illegally enacts United States laws in violation of the Hague and Geneva Convention, and as a victim of war crimes that stem from this unlawful legislation, I demand that this body immediately cease and desist.
Thank you for your testimony. Before we move on to Pahoa, I just want to call up Leilani Lindsay Kaapuni and Theodora Akau Gaspar to the testifiers table to get ready. To Pahoa, your 2 testifiers, please.
Mahalo, Chair Poindexter. First, I have Candace Johnson.
Aloha. This testimony is for Resolution 654-18. My name is Candace Hololeo Johnson, and I am a United States citizen. I am an equine body worker and a farmer, and I currently reside in Orchid Land Estates, Waikahikahi Akuaha, in Puna, Hawaii Island. As a United States citizen, I am a protected person as defined by international criminal law in the Tadic Judgment of 1999 by the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia Appeals Chamber, which stated that civilians who are nationals of the occupying state are also protected persons because their allegiance while residing in the occupied state is, in this case, owed to the Hawaiian Kingdom and not the United States. Allegiance to the Hawaiian Kingdom by resident aliens is stated in Section 3, Chapter 6 of the Hawaiian Kingdom Penal Code. I too have come to learn that the Hawaiian Kingdom continues to exist as an independent and sovereign state
that has been under an illegal and prolonged occupation by the United States since January 17, 1893. I am also aware that the United Nations independent expert, Dr. Alfred Desaias, sent a memorandum to members of the state of Hawaii judiciary, which stated international laws, the Hague and Geneva Conventions, require that governance and legal matters within the occupied territory of the Hawaiian Islands must be administered by the application of the laws of the occupied state, in this case, the Hawaiian Kingdom, not the domestic laws of the occupier, the United States. And according to Amnesty International, war crimes are crimes that violate the laws or customs of war defined by the Hague and Geneva Conventions. Article 43 of the Hague Regulations and Article 64 of the Fourth Geneva Convention obligates the United States to administer Hawaiian Kingdom law, not United States law. This deliberate failure by the United States to administer Hawaiian Kingdom law has led to grave breaches under Article 147 of the Fourth Geneva Convention and international humanitarian law, which constitutes war crimes committed against me as a protected person. This body illegally enacts United States laws in violation of the Hague and Geneva Conventions, and as a victim of war crimes that stem from this unlawful legislation, I demand that this body immediately cease and desist. Mahalo for your time.
Aloha. My name is Jason Lee Riesland, and this is testimony for Bill number 160. I reside in Orchid Land Estates. I'm a nurse that was invited to come here due to the nursing shortage. I'm also a permaculturist, and I'm also a protected person. This body illegally enacts United States laws in violation of the Hague and Geneva Conventions, and as a victim of war crimes that stem from this unlawful legislation, I demand that this body immediately cease and desist.
Okay, we move on to, okay, Ka'u has nothing. We go back to Kona with your last two testifiers, please.
Okay, our last two testifiers, we have Andrew Bright to comment on Bill 160, to be followed by Nephi Homeka'i Brown, also to comment on Bill 160. State your name for the record, please.
Aloha kakayaka. My name is Andrew Iaukia Bright. I'm a Hawaiian subject. I'm retired and now reside in Waikoloa. As a Hawaiian subject, I am a protected person as defined under Article 4 of the 1949 Fourth Geneva Convention. You know, it seems like this is not the first time we've been through this topic. But we're going to come back again and again to remind you guys, this is all wrong what you guys are doing. But as long as we can do this civilly, that's what we're going to do. This body illegally continues to illegally enact United States laws in violation of the Hague and Geneva Conventions. And as a victim of war crimes that stem from this unlawful legislation, I demand that this body immediately cease and desist. Paul.
Thank you. Aloha, my name is Nephi Homeka'i Brown. The testimony is in support for Bill 160 Code of Ethics. I'm a Hawaiian subject, and I am an entrepreneur, and I currently reside in South Kohala. I'm a protected person as defined under Article 4 of the 1949 Fourth Geneva Convention. I too have come to learn that the Hawaiian Kingdom continues to exist as an independent and sovereign state that has been under an illegal and prolonged occupation by the United States since January 17, 1893. I am also aware that the United Nations independent expert, Dr. Alfred Desaias, sent a memorandum to members of the state of Hawaii judiciary, which stated, quote, International laws, the Hague and Geneva Conventions require that governance and legal matters within the occupied territory of the Hawaiian Islands must be administered by the application of the laws of the occupied state, in this case, the Hawaiian Kingdom, not the domestic laws of the occupier, the United States, unquote. And according to Amnesty International, war crimes are crimes that violate the laws or customs of war defined by the Hague and Geneva Conventions. Article 43 of the Hague Regulations and Article 64 of the Fourth Geneva Convention obligates the United States to administer Hawaiian Kingdom law, not United States law. This deliberate failure by the United States to administer Hawaiian Kingdom law has led to grave breaches under Article 147 of the Fourth Geneva Convention and international humanitarian law, which constitutes war crimes committed against me as a protected person. This body illegally enacts United States laws in violation of the Hague and Geneva Conventions, and as a victim of war crimes that stem from this unlawful legislation, I demand too that this body immediately cease and desist.
Thank you. And I just got word that Kona has just one more testifier. Is that so, Scott?
Yes, that is true, Chair. Thank you. Our next testifier, our last testifier is Sharon Williford in support of Bill 160.
Aloha, I'm Sharon Williford, retired teacher here in Kona. I support everything that those that have gone before me say. And I stand behind Jennifer Ruggles as a brave Aloha Aina warrior, standing for the truth. That is what we're seeking, just the truth. What I would like to bring up, my understanding is that a pesticide bill was being proposed and is now not active, but I would like to challenge any of you and all of you to step up to the plate on this, whether it be Hawaiian Kingdom. I'm sure the law would go much easier if it was. That with the court case, the Monsanto case, which I'm sure you've all heard about, $285 or more million awarded to the plaintiff because of poisoning by glyphosate, which is the same as Roundup, which right now is being sprayed all over our county and state roads, parks, where dogs and children walk. And it's enough. We can't wait a couple years. We can't wait another day. Many counties, cities, and countries have banned this poisonous pesticide and others. Thank you so much for your consideration for the children. Aloha.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we'll go to Waimea. You have 3 testifiers, yes?
Madam Chair, we have 2 left.
Okay.
I'm sorry, we do have 3 left.
You have 3.
3 total.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, we have Pi'ikea Keawekane Stafford and Lokea Traps speaking on Bill 160. With 3 minutes, please state your name.
Aloha, my name is Pi'ikea Keawekane Stafford. This testimony is for Bill 160, Code of Ethics. I'm a Hawaiian subject. I'm a videographer, and I currently reside in Pu'ukapu, Waimea. As a Hawaiian subject, I'm a protected person and as defined under Article 4 of the 1949 Fourth Geneva Convention. I too have come to learn that the Hawaiian Kingdom continues to exist as an independent and sovereign state that have been under an illegal and prolonged occupation by the United States since January 17, 1893. I'm also aware that the United Nations independent expert, Dr. Alfred Desaias, sent a memorandum to members of the state of Hawaii Judiciary which stated international laws, the Hague and Geneva Conventions require that governance and legal matters within the occupied territory of the Hawaiian Islands must be administered by the application of the laws of the occupied state, in this case, the Hawaiian Kingdom, not the domestic laws of the occupier, the United States. And according to Amnesty International, war crimes are crimes that violate the laws or customs of war defined by the Hague and Geneva Convention. Article 43 of the Hague Regulations and Article 64 of the Fourth Geneva Convention obligates the United States to administer Hawaiian Kingdom law, not United States law. This deliberate failure by the United States to administer Hawaiian Kingdom law has led to grave breaches under Article 147 of the Fourth Geneva Convention and international humanitarian law, which constitutes war crimes committed against me as a protected person. This body illegally enacts United States law in violation of the Hague and Geneva Conventions, and as a victim of war crimes that stems from this unlawful legislation, I demand that this body immediately cease and desist.
Okay, your next testifier.
Aloha mai kākou, o nā halela au nā li ka po ole ko winoa. He Hawaii au, no ko Hawaii pai aina, keia kuru aina, ka home, ke kula iwi, ka maoli, ke ea nohoi. Oiai, noho hewa ko Amerika maluna hoi o ko mākou pai aina. Eia no mākou, e hoi ke a o kou, I ka oia i'o o ko kākou ea, ka oia i'o o ke ia aina, o ke ia pai aina no hoi. Oia no ka noho hewa ana o Amerika, a ka ho'o mau, a ka mau ana o ko Amerika war crimes, maluna ana, maluna o ko kākou mau po'e kanaka, maluna o ke ia pai aina. No laila, eia no mākou, e noi haa, e kauoha hoi a o kou, e hana I ka mea kupono, e ho'oia i'o, e kāko'o I ka o kou mau hoa o Generalus hoi, no kana kauoha no ka oia i'o, e ku me na po'e Hawaii o ke ia pai aina. I hiki a kākou ke ho'o mau I ke ea o ka aina I ka pono. Me ke rā mau manao, mahalo nui a o kou no ka ho'olohe ana mai. Aloha.
Waimea, if you take your last testifier, it'll be okay if they would let her get seated there, please, so we can move this along. Thank you. Okay, your last testifier.
Okay, our last testifier is Tammy Harp, speaking on Bill 160. Please restate your name.
My name is Tammy Harp, and I am a Hawaiian subject. I am a future ancestor, and I currently reside in Waimea, Mokuoke Ave. As a Hawaiian subject, I am a protected person as defined under Article 4 of the 1949 Fourth Geneva Convention. This body illegally enacts United States laws in violation of the Hague and Geneva Conventions, and as a victim of war crimes that stem from this unlawful legislation, I demand that this body immediately cease and desist. And I personally feel that we got to get rid of all this shibai, and we got to start looking at the real truth. Mahalo.
Okay, I just need again to remind the people here, we need to be mindful of the respect of everybody, and no speaking, clapping, all that kind of disruption, and that's part of our rules. So I just ask that we have that respect for each other, regardless of people's views, whether we agree or disagree. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Ms. Lindsay Kaupuni, if you could just state your name for the record and then proceed. Okay. the mic right at the base. There you go. Thank you.
My name is Leilani Lindsay Kaapuni. I'm testifying regarding Bill 160 on the County Code of Ethics. I'm a Hawaiian subject. I reside at Pi'ihonua, Hilo, Hawaii. I am a keeper of my family mo'oku auhau and a researcher of genealogies. I'm employed as a fiscal specialist at the University of Hawaii at Hilo. As a Hawaiian subject, I am a protected person as defined under Article 4 of the 1949 Fourth Geneva Convention. The Hawaiian Kingdom continues to exist as an independent and sovereign state that has been under an illegal and prolonged occupation by the United States since January 17, 1893. This body, called the Hawaii County Council, illegally enacts United States laws in violation of the Hague and Geneva Conventions. And as a victim of war crimes that stem from this unlawful legislation, I demand that this body immediately cease and desist.
Thank you. Okay, well, just before you testify, I'd like to call Ku'ulani Muse up to the testifier's table to get ready. And Ms. Akau Gaspar, if you could state your name for the record and then proceed.
Aloha, my name is Theodora Akau Gaspar, and I'm going to speak on Bill 160, Code of Ethics. My name is Theodora Akau Gaspar, and I'm a Hawaiian subject. I'm a retired school teacher, and I currently reside in Ahuloa in the Hamakua district on Moko Keawe. As a Hawaiian subject, I am a protected person, as defined under Article 4 of the 1949 Geneva Convention. A few years ago, I met with Mayor-elect Harry Kim, and he was presented the same information with no avail, no questions. He called upon me. I never called upon him. And the reason for him calling me was because of my support of the Mauna Kea movement. So again, he called upon me to talk. So that was my opportunity to give him this true fact information with no reply or no response after that. So this body that I'm looking at enacting United States law in violation of the Hague and Geneva Convention, and as a victim of war crimes that stem from this unlawful legislation that I'm looking at, I demand you learn the truth based on facts, and you cease and desist on your decision making until you truly learn these facts. These are facts based on truth. If not, you each will be held liable, accountable for your decision making. Here, each of you, war crimes is something not to mess with. Honestly, I too have to look at myself as a Hawaiian subject living in the Hawaiian Kingdom. This is the Hawaiian Kingdom in continuity. Honestly, as a human being having human rights, seriously, think about it. You all have your own na'au. You have a Hawaiian last name, Kanuha. Every one of you have koko in you because you reside in the Hawaiian Kingdom. Think about it. 125 years since the illegal overthrow.
Thank you for your testimony.
You're welcome.
I'd like to call up Robert, is it Yamada, to the testifier's table to get ready. And Ms. Muse, if you could state your name for the record and then proceed.
Aloha, my name is Ku'ulani Muse. My testimony is in reference to Bill 160 to amend Chapter 2 of the County Code of Ethics. I am a Hawaiian subject. I reside and work in Kahua, Hilo, Hawaii. As a Hawaiian subject, I am a protected person under Article 4 of the 1949 Fourth Geneva Convention. I am here to affirm that the Hawaiian Kingdom continues to exist as an independent and sovereign state, and to assert that this body continues to illegally enact United States laws in violation of the Hague and Geneva Conventions. As a victim of war crimes that stem from this unlawful legislation, I demand that this body immediately cease and desist. Mahalo.
Thank you. Okay, we'd like to call up Dwight Vicente to the testifiers table to get ready. Mr. Yamada, if you could state your name for the record and then proceed.
This testimony is for Bill 160. My name is Robert M. Yamada II. I am a Hawaiian subject and a retired contractor. I reside at 1598 Hawaii Road in Panaeva. As such, I am a Hawaiian Homes lessee, so I have more than 50% Hawaiian. I am a protected person as defined under Article 4 of the 1949 Fourth Geneva Convention. I too have come to learn, as so many others have said before me, that the Hawaiian Kingdom continues to exist as an independent and sovereign state that has been under an illegal and prolonged occupation by the United States since January 17, 1893. I am also aware that the United Nations independent expert, Dr. Alfred Desaias, sent a memorandum to members of the state Hawaii judiciary which stated international laws, the Hague and Geneva Conventions require that governance and legal matters within the occupied territory of the Hawaiian Islands must be administered by the application of the laws of the occupied state. In this case, it's the Hawaiian Kingdom, not the domestic laws of the occupier, the United States. And according to Amnesty International, war crimes are crimes that violate the laws and customs of war defined by the Hague and Geneva Conventions. Article 43 of the Hague Regulations and Article 64 of the Fourth Geneva Convention obligates the United States to administer Hawaiian Kingdom law, not United States law. This deliberate failure by the United States to administer Hawaiian Kingdom law has led to grave breaches under Article 147 of the Fourth Geneva Convention and international humanitarian law, which constitutes war crimes committed against me as a protected person. This body illegally enacts United States laws in violation of the Hague and Geneva Convention, and as a victim of war crimes that stem from this unlawful legislation, I demand that this body immediately cease and desist. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to call up Moses Kealamakia to the testifiers table. Mr. Vicente, if you would state your name for the record and proceed.
Good morning. My name is Dwight Vicente. I'm representing the Hawaiian Kingdom. I'm going to add Resolution 664-18 with the other two. 664-18. King Kalakaua had an American cabinet. He questioned why they went to Europe to bring in Europeans back in that time period. He was lied to. They had a scheme to infiltrate this kingdom and bring Europeans to help assist them in the takeover. And this is back with the Reciprocity Treaty of 1875. So the arrivals of the Europeans assisted the United States in overtaking this kingdom. And you can trace that back to 1820 with President Monroe appointing an agent for the U.S. United States, Jones, to direct the missionary families and the U.S. Navy here. And this is going back to 1820 now. Okay, transitioning to 664 134-18. I'm going to have to tell you, you guys had misstate this in, it says section 134-9, but actually, if you read it correctly, it's HRS Title 10, Chapter 134. Title 10, for those that don't understand, is Congress power under Article 1, Section 8 over the Army, the Navy, and the state militia. Hawaiian Kingdom had no gun control. Gun control was imposed after the illegal takeover by the Provisional/Republic of Hawaii. After that, they had arms to be licensed. Now it's under Title 10. Title 10 is limited to the 13 states, Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3 of the U.S. Constitution. And that only pertains to the U.S. military. So this appeal went to the Ninth Circus, the fake state of California, and it's dealing with the Second Amendment, which does not apply here in the Hawaiian Kingdom either. Just as Title 10 doesn't apply, the Second Amendment doesn't apply, the First Amendment doesn't apply. The U.S. Constitution applies only to Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3. Through the 14th Amendment, it was applied to Article 5 of the Northwest Ordinance only. The strange thing about the Hawaiian Kingdom is we're placed under the Northwest Ordinance through the Reciprocity Treaty of 1875. So that's why it's a strange setup. How can you apply the Northwest Ordinance when it's limited to Article 5? But it was applied here and there was no question. But it's a constitutional question. It's yet to go up to the U.S. Supreme Court. Transitioning to...
Excuse me, you had 2 items on here.
Yeah, but I had to add on that other one.
But according to our rule, you got to sign up for the. So if you want to go and sign up for another one, we had you doing.
The veterans one now.
Yeah, but you're not signed up for that.
I wasn't signed up for the other one. The one that
you
the
have
Portuguese.
666-18 and one. You had 2 items signing up for. So.
Yeah, wasn't
okay.
the one with the
So
Portuguese. The Portuguese
okay.
one I added on.
I'm going to allow this one time, but I'm not allowing this. I'm only, just because you're here, I'm not going to make a really big issue of it, but know our rules about what you got to sign up for and what we're expecting and when you're transitioning. I respect that. So go ahead, your next 3 minutes.
You know my saying about rules, rules are your rules, not mine.
Okay. Excuse me. One thing I got to ask is that if you're in this room, you abide by our rules. And you need to go read the rules, because if it is disruptive, we can ask you to leave. So I just want, out of respect for each other's, we can agree to disagree. We just need to respect each other's views. So thank you. Continue.
Okay, with the veterans, many individuals served in the U.S. Army as non-U.S. citizens, which is illegal because you're required to take an oath to the U.S. Constitution. The only individuals that can take an oath to the U.S. Constitution are U.S. citizens that were naturalized to Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3 of the U.S. Constitution, which is only 13 states. So you cannot serve. And another thing, too, I must say that most countries are occupied, whether it be this kingdom, Puerto Rico, Guam, Philippines, South Korea, Japan, Germany. They're all occupied nations, and they all fall under the UN as occupied nations. United States has no colonial powers. They cannot occupy another country. The Constitution requires the United States to remain 13 states unless it's amended. And the Northwest Ordinance is Article 5 of the ordinance, and it's limited. That's why when you read Article 4, Section 3, Clause 2, it talks about only one territory, and it was applied in Cy versus Clinton back in 2011. Well, there's no political question over the Article 5. This is the Hawaiian Kingdom. So most of the wars the United States has been involved, if not all of the wars, is based on colonial activity, which is a violation of the U.S. Constitution. They're only required to repel invasion under the preamble. And that's why Article 1, Section 8, the military, deals only with Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3, which is the 13 states. So with that, I'll end with the Queen's protest of January 17, 1893 against U.S. Minister Stevens has yet to make its way to the U.S. Supreme Court. Article 3, Section 2, Clause 2, original but limited jurisdiction only over U.S. Minister Stevens. The court has no jurisdiction over, the federal courts have no jurisdiction here in this kingdom. And the other one is the constitutional question of the Northwest Ordinance being applied here to this kingdom through the Reciprocity Treaty of 1875. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'd like to call up Elizon Atkins to the testifiers table. And Mr. Kealamakia, if you could state your name for the record and then proceed.
My name is Moses Kealamakia. I'm a U.S. citizen. I live here in Hilo, up in Waikiauka. I'm currently an artist/art teacher with the DOE. And I'm here to make comments on Bill 160. This body that I'm looking at enacts the United States laws, which is a violation of the Hague and Geneva Conventions. Therefore, we're all victims of war crimes that stem from this unlawful legislation. I kindly, respectfully, humbly demand that this body immediately cease and desist. Mahalo.
Thank you. Okay, so next we call up Kari Harden to the testifiers table. And Ms. Atkins, if you could state your name for the record and then proceed.
Aloha. My name is Alison Atkins, and I'm doing testimony for Bill 160. I am an American citizen, and I am a teacher at Hawaii Community College, and I currently reside in Mountain View, Hawaii. As an American citizen who is not an employee of the United States government, I am a protected citizen under Article 4 of the 1949 Fourth Geneva Convention. As a United States citizen, I am a protected person as defined by the International Criminal Law in the Tadic Judgment of 1999 by the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia Appeals Chamber, which stated that civilians who are nationals of the occupying state are also protected persons because of their allegiance while residing in the occupied state is in this case owed to the Hawaiian Kingdom and not the United States. Allegiance to the Hawaiian Kingdom by resident aliens is stated in Section 3, Chapter 6 of the Hawaiian Kingdom Penal Code. This body illegally enacts the United States laws in violation of the Hague and Geneva Conventions, and as a victim of war crimes that stem from this unlawful legislation, I demand that this body immediately cease and desist.
Thank you. Okay, I'd like to call up George Pace to the testifiers table. Ms. Harden, if you could state your name for the record and proceed.
Good morning. I'm not speaking about Bill 160, though I support much of the testimony that's been given. I'm speaking in support of Resolution 666, just speaking for myself. This is regarding the open carry of guns. We do not need to loosen up gun laws. The United States has less than 5% of the world's population, but it has almost half of the world's guns that are owned by civilians. And a fact sheet for 2003 to 2013 from Sandy Hook Promise shows that almost 100 people died every day from gun violence in the United States, and over 200 a day were injured. The gun homicide rate in the United States is 25 times higher compared to other high-income countries. And if you break it down by state, I have a picture. The states that have more guns have more gun deaths, and Hawaii is fairly low on gun ownership and gun deaths, and I think we should keep it that way. When new laws get passed about owning and buying guns, gun violence tends to go down. This is based on a review of over 100 studies from 10 countries. Also, if you have a gun at home, it is 4 times more likely to cause an accidental shooting and 7 times more likely to be used in assault or homicide, and 11 times more likely to be used in a suicide compared to being used for self-defense. This is from Scientific American. And guns are used for self-defense in less than 1% of all crimes that occur when the victim is there. And self-defense gun use is about as effective as other defensive maneuvers, such as just calling for help. That's from a review of 5 years of data. What scares me most is the suicides. Guns work really well, so if you use a gun for suicide, unfortunately, you'll probably succeed. Nearly 2/3 of gun deaths are suicides. The United States gun suicide rate is 8 times that compared to other high-income countries. And if you have access to a gun and you try to commit suicide, the risk of death increases by 3 times. There was a study from Israeli researchers, and suicides among Israeli soldiers dropped by 40% when the military stopped letting soldiers take their guns home over the weekend. And the change was most pronounced during the weekends. So Scientific American, in their article, concludes, people, all of us, lead complicated lives, misinterpret situations, get angry, and make mistakes. And when a mistake involves pulling a trigger, the damage can't be undone. Thank you.
Thank you. Next to the testifiers table, Noe Kekawalua. If she could come to the testifiers table. Mr. Pace, if you could state your name for the record and then proceed.
Good morning, Chair and members. My name is George Pace. I live in Mountain View. I comment regarding the appropriately numbered Resolution 666. Please do not facilitate in any way the attempt by the Office of the Corporation Counsel, the Mayor, and the Police Chief to escape their consequences of many years of illegal and unethical policies by approving any agreement of any kind that would provide any legal aid to defend these county agents from what they have brought upon themselves, by having historically adopted a policy of openly, blatantly, unabashedly, and sometimes smugly violating the natural, fundamental, individual, unalienable, enumerated, constitutionally protected civil rights of Hawaii County residents who have sought to legally exercise their right to bear arms for self-defense outside their home. Let me provide a general context. The probability of being in a car accident and being a crime victim are approximately the same in Hawaii. In the first case, the state requires under criminal penalty that a person must have insurance. And in the second, under criminal penalty, requires that a person may not have insurance in the form of most common self-defense weapons outside the home. Equal probability of harm, virtually opposite treatment by the law. All the people in the county chain of command swore or affirmed an oath of office to uphold the constitutions of both the state of Hawaii and the United States, and both read, the right to the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. As Justice Thomas wrote, I find it extremely improbable that the framers of the Second Amendment to protect little more than carrying a gun from the bedroom to the kitchen. Yet that is exactly what the county taxpayer-paid attorneys argued in attempting to continue to deny county residents our constitutionally protected rights. They did not argue in court that they did not have the legal expertise to make such policies. Why do they whine about it now? Only when they are being held to account for their years-long secret pronouncements, which they claim are protected by attorney-client privilege, that no one would be allowed to exercise their rights. At any time in the history of this county, the police chief could have issued licenses on the same basis as 43 other states have to over 16 million people. Likewise, the mayor or the Office of the Corporation Counsel could have issued an advisory opinion or something similar, suggesting that the police chief issue licenses to typical law-abiding persons. They all chose not to, based upon their legal expertise. The record shows that not one single law-abiding person has ever been granted such a license. And now they whine that in fact they don't have and apparently never did have the legal expertise to make or defend such legal opinions. It'd be a joke if it wasn't such blatant hypocrisy. They must be held accountable and liable for their acts, and ethically they should be required to provide their own defense, as they were allowed for all these many years to impose their own legal expertise upon the constitutionally protected rights-deprived residents of this county. Please, no state bailout. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to call Linda Safari to the testifiers table. Okay. And Ms. Kekaulua, if you could state your name for the record and proceed.
My name is Noinoi Kekawalua, and I am a Hawaiian subject. I am a student of the University of Hawaii at Hilo and an event coordinator, and I reside in Hilo, Hawaii. As a Hawaiian subject, I am a protected person and as defined under Article 4 of the 1949 Fourth Geneva Convention. This testimony is in support of Bill 160, County Code of Ethics, and I am here to affirm that the Hawaiian Kingdom continues to exist as an independent and sovereign state. This body illegally enacts United States laws in violation of the Hague and Geneva Conventions and as a victim of war crimes that stem from this unlawful legislation. I demand that this body immediately cease and desist.
Thank you. Okay, if we could call Jean Tamashiro to the testifiers table. And Ms. Safar, if you could state your name for the record and proceed.
Aloha. My name is Linda Safari, and welcome to the Hawaiian Kingdom. The land that this building is on is Crown lands. Just want you to recognize where you are. My name is Linda Safari, and I'm a United States citizen. I am a registrar for the Ku'e petitions and a cultural practitioner. I reside at Wa'awa'a, Puna, Hawaii. As a United States citizen, I am a protected person as defined by international criminal law, and the state is also protected persons because their alliance while residing in occupied state is, in this case, owed to the Hawaiian Kingdom and not the United States. Allegiance to the Hawaiian Kingdom by resident aliens is stated in Section 3, Chapter 4 of Hawaiian Kingdom Penal Code. This body illegally enacts United States laws in violation of the Hague and Geneva Conventions and as a victim of war crimes that stem from this unlawful legislation. I demand that this body immediately cease and desist. But also, maybe a good idea, you folks, if you go to hawaiiankingdom.org for history. It might be enlightening to you folks. You're hearing us say this over and over, but maybe you need to educate yourselves of the true history. And also the hawaiiankingdom.org/blog, which will bring you up to date in what is happening now. Mahalo, you folks.
Thank you. Okay. I'd like to call Susan Roser to the testifiers table. Is there a Susan Roser? Susan. Okay. Okay, Mr. Tamashiro, if you could state your name for the record and proceed.
Thank you. Aloha, everyone. I'm Gene Tamashiro. I'm also a sovereign Hawaiian national. And some of you I know personally. And I want to thank you, and I want to thank Keokua, Yahweh, the Creator, that brought us all together in spite of the laws that are operating in the state of Hawaii, which has been shown to actually not be lawful in Hawaii. And so I support Jen Ruggles because she's standing in honor. And she's asking the question, illegal opinion, a question that actually most people in this room and most people in Hawaii already know the answer to. So I want to celebrate the fact that our people have done their due diligence and have come with aloha to untangle the color of law matrix that we all find ourselves in. You know, we are so lucky that the Queen and that the Hawaiian Kingdom continues to exist, because the Hawaiian Kingdom, to my knowledge, is the only country on earth that is not a corporation. And indeed, the United States became officially a corporation in 1871 with the creation of the District of Columbia. And if you Google definition of United States under the United States Code, Article 28, Section 3002, line 15, definition of United States, they tell you United States equals federal corporation. And what is a corporation? Who are the people you're actually working for? The definition of a corporation is a legal entity. So we have a illegal entity occupying Hawaii. And I think the question here is, because you're in a community of people that are filled with the aloha spirit, that you come forward. There was a great mistake that we were all born into. Our moms didn't know when they were applying for a birth certificate that they were signing over their beloved baby until the federal corporation. And so until we declare upon ourselves and unto the world our true status, who we are, where we are, and what law we live by, we will be presumed to be property of that corporation, and I'm no longer property of that corporation. Hawaii County, Hawaiian Kingdom has a powerful destiny on earth as it is in heaven. And if we stand true, faithfully, with aloha, we can untangle this. And I want to support all of you to reflect on that. Because yes, there are consequences in the law, but beyond that, there is love and forgiveness and healing.
Thank you for your testimony.
God bless you.
Okay. I'd like to call up Nathan Kaluag to the testifiers table. And Ms. Rosier, if you could state your name for the record and proceed.
My name is Susan Rosier. I live in Waikahikahi, Puna, Moku o Keawe. I've come to know that I'm a protected person. I'd like to tell you folks that you are too. I don't have to repeat everything that everybody else said. I'm sure that it's kind of getting in your mind. What I'm going to ask you is to take this information home, because this isn't going to stop. It's not a small thing. It's not one little tiny group of people over here. It's huge. I've known about it. I've known about the problems with it since March 1999, when at that time I lived on Maui. It's only gotten bigger. It's not a small group of people. And the reason it's not a small group of people is because these are actual facts. And we have professors, we have people like Ron Williams Jr., who is a professor of history, coming out with facts on a daily basis. In fact, he has Truthful Tuesdays, where he pulls one small little fact out that everybody can see. And now everybody knows. And our children know, and our young people are knowing. And back when I was young, we were just fighting for what we now have, Olelo in schools. When my daughter was 9 years old, she came home crying one day because one of the kids in her class was Olelo Hawaii, and the teacher pulled the kid out, made her apologize to the whole class, and go stand in the corner. Later, when my kids got older and they started having babies, I got together with a bunch of other parents. And in Haiku on Maui, in Grandma's house, the kids learned from Grandma before she died. That sprouted. And look what we have today. What we have today is youth that know who they are. They speak the language. I'd like you all to really find it in your heart. Cease and desist. You have the power.
Thank you. Okay, I'd like to call up Elizabeth Sandeman. I think is that the last name? Is there Elizabeth here? Okay, come to the testifiers table. And Mr. Kaluag, you can state your name and then proceed.
My name is Nathan Caldwell. I'm speaking about Bill 160. And I am a Hawaiian subject. I am a contractor. I currently reside in Quinili, Okalani, in Kona. As a Hawaiian subject, I am a protected person defined under the Article 4 of 1949 for Geneva Convention. This body legally enacts United States laws in violation of the Hague and Geneva Conventions and is a victim of war crimes that stems from the unlawful legislation. I demand this body immediately cease and desist.
Okay, I'd like to call Marlene Hapai to the testifiers table. And go ahead, state
Hi.
your name for the record and proceed.
I'm Elizabeth Jean Sand, Amen, and I am testifying on the Bill 160. I am an American citizen. I was born in America, in California, and both my parents are both American citizens. You've heard everyone's statements, and I really don't want to repeat it, but I want to ask you is that we are at a threshold where there was a point in time where there was an argument between was it a flat earth or was there a round earth? And we look back and we sort of laugh at some people. We are at that point, and what we're asking is please be thorough on the data. Don't rely on what was told, what was passing. We're asking that you be thorough because it's been presented to you, the evidence, and we are asking for you to take your own time and really look into it. As an American citizen, I am a protected person, and we are having harm and damages because rights are being taken away. Rights of the Hawaiian subjects, rights of American citizens to follow and have allegiance to the Hawaiian Kingdom. So today I ask for all activities to cease and desist, specifically this body, all governments opposing as American government, the council, the city, the county, the state. And that's it, thank you.
Thank you. Next, Jerry Warren, if you could come to the testifiers table. Mr. Warren, if you want to testify. Thank you. Okay. Okay, Marlene, if you could state your name for the record and then proceed. Mr. Warren, you can have a seat here.
These people did not stand up for the American flag. I don't want to sit in front of their flag.
Okay, I'll call on you when you're ready. Ms. Hapai, if you could continue.
Bom dia, Marlene Hapai, President, Interim Director of the Hawaii Island Portuguese Chamber of Commerce Cultural and Educational Center, and this is in support of Resolution 664-18. If anyone asked me about my Portuguese heritage 10 years ago, I would have had little to say, as I had spent most of my life becoming what I would be and had not taken the time to see where I had come from. It took the deaths of my mother and her two sisters, all within a period of 10 months, and the sudden passing of the Andrade building, built in 1924 by their parents, to us, the next generation of Andrades, to realize the gift of living history that had been given to us that we knew so little about. It was a 10-year-old girl in the building next to ours who motivated me to begin my search for my Portuguese roots and history of my family when she asked me to tell her about the Andrade building so she could give a report to her class. Although I grew up in the building helping my grandmother and mother from ages 6 to 18, I only knew the business, how it operated, and what my grandmother did to have her business survive for 40 years. I did not know the history of those who had provided this exciting environment in which to grow up. This September 30th, we celebrate the 140th anniversary of the first Portuguese immigrant families to arrive in Hawaii. Traveling 15,000 miles from the Azores, Madeira, and mainland Portugal, this was a one-way trip, a trip that had us naming our Portuguese Cultural and Educational Center Saudade, or the Longing. Portuguese immigrants longed for a better life as they came to Hawaii, yet longed for their families, friends, and homeland left behind. Within this 140-year period of time, Hawaii's Portuguese have lost touch with their history and much of their culture, and thus our goal of building a cultural and educational center to document and preserve the valuable contributions of the Portuguese to Hawaii's history before they are forever lost. To this end, between September 20th and 30th, we will celebrate island-wide with traveling presentations to Kau, Kona, Honoka, and Hilo, sharing Portuguese stories of old, exhibits, food, and music, and culminate in Hilo with the first showing of the documentary Portuguese in Hawaii, our Founders Ball to continue raising funds for our center on September 30th, and on September 30th, the exact 140th anniversary date, bless our center grounds. At this time, we would like to thank our Hawaii County Council for your support of these 140th anniversary events and ask for your continued support as we document and share the history of one of Hawaii's many people that have made Hawaii the working model of multi-ethnic diversity it is known for worldwide today. Muito obrigada, mahalo, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. Okay. Yeah. Are we okay? Okay. So let me call, and I don't know if this is right because I'm having a hard time reading the writing, but Aten? Is there Aten? Aten, is that Aten? Is that the name? Is that okay? Yeah, because it was. Yeah, it's not in print, so I have a hard time making out and that's okay. If you could have a seat, thank you. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I couldn't. Even the writing is in script, so I couldn't make it out. Thank you. No problem. No problem. Mr. Warren, if you could state your name for the record and proceed.
I'm Jerry Warren. I oppose the $58,600 to mow the 13 acres. That's the Makahiki grounds, the Weatherford property in Na'alehu. The old Sea Brewer hayfield is now a political pork barrel. I drove in this morning and there were horses in there. I don't think you can have animals in that property. And then and I've been asking if Keone Fox is a lobbyist. Nobody could answer that either. And you have rules about lobbyists, and nobody wants to check to see whether he's fudging or not. So, anyhow, going back several years ago, going back to Bob Jacobson and James Weatherford, they had a little series called Talking Trash, and there was a communication presented to the council, and then Brenda Ford asked Bob Jacobson about black water. And then there was an embarrassed silence because that whole scam was to make a wastewater utopia down there outside of Na'alehu. So, and then back then, Weatherford's reclaimed wastewater scam was not public knowledge. Na'alehu homeowners were not told that Harry Kim's 2004 promise was scuttled. His plan was too simple. It was too cheap. There's no rake-offs. So at a previous council meeting, back when the chambers were upstairs and Virginia Isbell was council member, James Weatherford was Bob Jacobson's staff member. And then back then, the Na'alehu sewer alignment was on a committee agenda. I showed up early while the previous committee was in session. Bob Jacobson jumped out of his chair and told me that I didn't need to testify. I could go home and not worry. So everything's okay, according to Bob, right? So and then he told me that Harry Kim had no authority to promise the simple plan to homeowners back in 2004. We got that promise in a registered letter. So now, the county to this date has never told Na'alehu homeowners that Harry Kim's 2004 plan has been abandoned. We're just left guessing. So instead, we get a sewer bill for a service that plantation was obligated to provide for free, and Bob Jacobson let Harry Doc Byers out of that obligation. So that was an obligation. So moving on, the veterans' property tax exemption. I'm going over to that one. So I oppose this for all the reasons expressed by Councilmember Chung at the last meeting. Then I am a veteran. And that's why I didn't want to sit in front of that flag, because these people didn't want to stand up for the American flag. And one of the saddest things I had to do as an Army person was give out posthumous medals. I was on the flag detail, and I saw those medals given out. Those parents were not happy. They were not proud. They were not patriotic. It was bitter resentment. So anyhow, I got out of the Army. I did my 2 years. I was drafted. So, and I restarted college. That was 50 years ago. And so instead of a tax exemption, I would like my freedom of speech rights enforced. And I thank Mr. Maeda for giving me a clear venue right now. And so and the reason I came here today instead of going to Naalehu, because I kept getting scoldings. Every time I went there, there was pilikea. And but even back when Jay Yoshimoto was council chair, I was ejected from your video testimony by the same people who give me scoldings today. It's a crowd, right? Your Ocean View clique. And then, then they interfered by using her cell phone. Then it just went downhill from there. So, and I found out from your clerk's office, not you, Mr. Maeda, but your staff, your person there in Naalehu can be terse. And she can run other businesses while she's sitting there, even while people are testifying. So I do feel safer here. I was lucky to get out of that room alive last time. Mahalo.
Thanks. Okay, I'll call up, I don't know if it's Daynette or Raynette Goslins. The handwriting is, okay. Now, before we get started here, there was someone who signed in here but went to Pahoa, and she was number 20 here. So I'm gonna, is she in the Pahoa office now? So I waited to number 20 because that was the right thing to do. Is she in the Pahoa office? It's Kate Lilly? Kate Lilly?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
she is here. Thank you.
So I'll allow her to give her testimony now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Kate Lilly. The veil has lifted. There is no more hiding the truth. We are here. We are strong. We are Hawaiian Kingdom. Truth is beauty. We are not here to harm, and we wish to no longer be harmed. The Hawaiian Kingdom's laws, the natural law, the true law, the only law that makes any sort of sense, has been ignored, battered, cross-contaminated, and tarnished for far too long, over 125 years. This is totally unacceptable and needs to be not just corrected, but retribution must be established in order to create some sort of smooth transition to return. It has been stated over and over and over again today. War crimes have been committed. Even this conjoinment could be considered a war crime, as it is a debate on what law to administer, which is clearly states that the occupied state law is to be implemented under occupation. This is clearly not happening. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. I think I have a testifier in Kona. Did I hear that we have one more testifier in Kona?
Yeah, our last testifier is Claire Laprinzi.
Okay,
In
go ahead.
support and comment on Bill 160.
Thank you.
State your name.
O Claire Koinoa, Claire Loprinzi. Noho au I ka honokahau iki. I am both a citizen of the United States and of Hawaii as a nationalist, and I'm also a citizen of Sicilia. Some people don't know what Sicilia is, but that is Sicily. We are under occupation from Italy. We are a sovereign nation too. Very similar story that you're hearing here today. And everything people have said about the cease and desist, of course. But I'm here, you know all of me, you all know me from the past. So not, maybe all of you don't know me, but you will, because I try to testify wherever I can and whenever I can. I am a cultural practitioner. That means I have kuleana and accountability. You too have kuleana and accountability. If someone wanted to know how are you a traditional midwife, I can pull out my genealogy of 5 generations going back. I can show you in the last 44 years my kuleana and my accountability. You all have accountability to do the right thing here. We did it with the GMO. You just keep doing it, because if you don't, you know how the rules go. It falls on your mo'opuna, and it will fall on them. It's just how it goes. So we can come with all the aloha and all of that, but all of you need to do your job. We applaud, Jen, that in Kona, when we asked people to talk to us, our representatives on the council, you should have talked. You should listen. You shouldn't be scared for your jobs. You shouldn't be scared because your new salary or for whatever reason it is. Just, you should be doing the right thing. You should be doing kuleana. Because they're saying that the children and the babies and this, let me tell you that the babies coming in, this has a deep impact on them. And I know that because I help them. And traditional people, we don't listen to these ultrasounds, for example, because that's a form of war, like what's happening to our Kanaloa right now. That's sonar. Right. We never have used that. If, for example, I ever used an ultrasound, I wouldn't be a traditional midwife. I wouldn't be a cultural practitioner. And I never have, and it's been over 44 years. But these children are being deeply affected. These in the womb are being deeply affected by how you're going to judge on this. Do the right thing. We need you to do the right thing. You've been behind us. You've had your back up against the wall like this. I remember with the GMO, but you did the right thing. Now we got some new people in here. Put Jan back in there. Right. How could you allow her? Why did you all stand up? Put your fist up. What's wrong with you? All of you. And the court to say some kind of law? Whose law is that? This is a sovereign nation. The queen never went to war, and she never signed a treaty. Go sit underneath, the next time you go to her statue, sit underneath her window and just sit and listen. Because I do it every time I go over there. So kupa'a, we expect you to do the right thing here. And then, big pony to all of you. Aloha.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, we come back here to Hilo to finish testifiers. If you could state your name for the record and then proceed.
Yes, I'm representing as an American national. I have children who were born here. I am a member of the World Moorish Nation, which is the Kanaka Maoli, the Moro, the Maoli, the Maori, the Kamau. We're all the same bloodline of people growing up on the planet Earth in different locations. And I'm honored to be here in front of the Hawaiian Kingdom flag that I see behind you with the gold fringe, acknowledging that there is a war going on. I am an American national. I am an administrator, a jurist, and an adherent to the law. I reside in the Puna district here on the island of Hawaii. As an American national, I am protected under the international criminal law in Tadic judgment of 1999 by the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia Appeals Chamber, which stated that civilians who are nationals of the occupying state are also protected because of their allegiance to the occupied state. And I am clarifying my allegiance to the Hawaiian Kingdom as an American national in the current situation of the illegal occupation of the Hawaiian Kingdom. I am a business owner who does business between the Hawaiian Kingdom and the United States of America. Allegiance to the Hawaiian Kingdom by resident aliens is stated in Section 3, Chapter 6 of the Hawaiian Kingdom Penal Code. I, too, have come to learn that the Hawaiian Kingdom continues to exist as an independent and sovereign state that has been under an illegal occupation and prolonged occupation by the United States since January 17, 1893. I am also aware that the United Nations independent expert Dr. Alfred Desaias sent a memorandum to members of the state of Hawaii judiciary, which stated international law, the Hague and Geneva Convention require that governance and legal matters within the occupied territory of the Hawaiian Islands must be administered by the application of laws of the occupied state, in this case the Hawaiian Kingdom, not the domestic laws of the occupier, the United States. And according to the Attorney General, according to Amnesty International, war crimes are crimes that violate the laws or customs of war defined by the Hague and Geneva Conventions. Article 43 of the Hague Regulations and Article 64 of the Fourth Geneva Convention obligates the United States to administer Hawaiian Kingdom law, not United States law. This deliberate failure
Thank you for your
is a
testimony.
violation, and so I state
Thank you.
to cease and desist.
Thank you for your testimony. Okay, I'd like to call Michelle Prevost. Is she still here? Up to the testifier's table. Okay. If you could state your name for the record and then proceed. Thank you.
Kehalani. I haven't been here in a while. I've done my research. And corporations cannot extend their arm beyond the corporation. The people in the United States of America Republic, not the United States Incorporated, are second under Hawaiian Kingdom law, under the United States of America Republic law, not United States Incorporated. Sovereign God, sovereign individuals, then the government subject to the people. Corporations are not mentioned. This is the world we live in today. Flip that upside down. Corporations try to run it. Second is government. Third, people are enslaved. And God is optional. We live in an upside down world. Today, we're not asking you to make any rulings or judgments. Today, we want you to know that you have no authority. Now, I look at some of your faces. I love you guys. I see you in the store, I say hi and give you hugs, okay? This has nothing to do personally with anybody. This has only to do with the truth. This is not about race. This is not about nationality. This is about corporation versus people and how the so-called U.S. government wages war on the people every day. And they use you guys. They use you guys, unwittingly or knowingly, to wage that war. Today, I urge you to listen to everything that was said here. And in my testimony, I want to encompass all the other testimonies about the true relationship and the true political standing between the Hawaiian Kingdom and the United States. I want that as part of my testimony. I also want you to understand your standing, that corporations cannot make rulings that apply to the people. And that's all you are. So I too applaud Jen. She is not basing this on race or anything other than what is true. Now, this 160 that you have on the agenda, I'm kind of at a loss as to why you would have to put something in law saying we'll be accurate and we will be factual. Isn't that a given? That's what we're doing today. We're being factual and accurate. We're being an example of how to lead. You cannot lead the people if you're a corporation. Now, you all, I'm sure, take this to heart, your role. But you got to understand your role. You got to do your homework. I did mine. Nobody was going to teach me that. In fact, I was taught just the opposite. So please go do your homework and make decisions accordingly.
Thank you for your testimony. Okay, I'd like to call up Sarah Steiner to the testifier's table. Okay, and Ms. Provost, if you could state your name for the record and proceed.
Aloha, my name is Michelle Prevost,
and I support Agenda 160 because I believe in Pono ethics that support freedom and truth for all. Therefore, I support the Hawaiian Kingdom and sovereignty. Hawaii was taken over illegally, a war crime. When will the U.S. government stop stealing the lands of the indigenous people and instead start honoring them? Mahalo.
Thank you. I'd like to call up Kaliko Kanaile. Kanaile. Thank you. Okay. Miss Steiner, if you could state your name for the record and then proceed.
Aloha. Sarah Steiner for myself here. And about the code of ethics, it's called a declaration. And as the previous speaker, I can't believe that there wasn't this requirement that the county employees have to provide accurate and factual information to the public to the best of their knowledge, and they also need to do it under penalty of perjury because, that's the whole point of an ethics board and finding, getting to the truth and everything. So I'm glad that Eileen brought this forward, and make sure you add under penalty of perjury. I also want to talk about Resolution 666-18, and I don't know where you come up with the 666, but I can imagine, just like the courthouse's address is 777 Kilauea. I oppose you guys spending $100,000 or $200,000 to hire another attorney to go over something that's already been appealed. Just let it stand there. I'd rather you spend the money researching what Jen Ruggles asked you to research, which is whether Hawaii is occupied. And I've provided a printout of things to help in that research. And it's mainly having to do with the United States, which is like a corporation. The money system, the IRS. The United States of America isn't really what you think it is. So I've provided a list for everybody. It's got the CFR rules. It's got different cases cited here for you. But you should really look at what Jen's saying. I think we should rather be the Hawaiian Kingdom than be part of the corporate United States of America, because that's headed in the wrong direction, the United States, and I don't want to be a part of it. I think that Hawaiian Kingdom would be a much better place for all of us to live, and we could take care of each other and not be the world police and not be making our people work themselves to death just so they can have a new house and a new car and a new insurance policy. And we're coming down to things are changing. Layers are exposing, the truth is coming out, and I think you'd rather spend the money instead of reviewing a gun law. You should rather review if the United States is actually even really what it says it is, and support Jen on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'd like to call up Puena An to the testifiers table. And if you could state your name for the record and proceed.
Aloha, my name is Kaliko Lehua Kanaile. I'm born and raised in Keokaha. I live almost anywhere I want to. And anyway, it's been 25 years since public law, U.S. Public Law 103-150, has been incorporated into the health law of Hawaii. And why did they put in the health law? Because it's all part of brainwashing. And that's the part of the war crime we're talking about, brainwashed. How long will it happen? It's been 25 years, and the continuation of business as usual got to stop somewhere along the line. But I realized one thing. A lot of our people from back when Prince Kuhio and Mr. Desher wrote the Hilo County Council Charter, was designed to help the Hawaiians here as a nationality, not a race. I hope you guys are 007s within our occupied state that it helps. And if you are, I'd like to commend you. You know, it's a nice, you know, it's a real art to be a politician in an occupied state and still try to help your people. You know, I congratulate you on that, if you are that. If you're not, well, you just along with the other people to rip us off and make everybody else money, and they live with it, and we're stuck here with nothing. But just like to, I'm here in support of Jen Ragos and her efforts throughout all her time in here. I don't know why she didn't go again, because, you know, the trick to politicians is you get reelected. You know, she got a hard time in the first semester, you know, sophomore. But, you know, and when you come back as a junior and you come back 3 times, wow, you know, the people have spoken. So we're just hoping that she make it again, so the people will have spoken again, and you know that she has support in that way. A second time, yeah. But unfortunately, she's not. So I just like to say, you know, from 25 years ago, same face used to come. We have new faces. The new generation now. I know you talk too much nowadays. You know, we got people come up, the akamai, you know, they're not on food stamps anymore. You know, they're professional people. You know, I hope you can hear them before, this guy says food stamps, don't any worry. But now we have really bright people. They come. And I hope, you know, when we first started back then, you know, a lot of people said, oh, you know, my hand's tied. I thought, you know, if you make big enough noise, you can untie your hand. Then you can do the things you need to do.
Thank you. Thank you
So
for
again,
your testimony.
Thank you, Jan Ragos, and I hope one day somewhere inside your mana'o that you guys would
Thank you.
come that way.
Okay, I'd
Aloha.
like to call Christine Kubat up to the table. And if you could state your name for the record and then proceed.
Aloha kako. Hey, hi, Tibel. Tim. Hi. For the record, my name is Pua Ana An. Some of you may remember me from such resolutions as the North Korea resolution. I was really hoping that Councilmember Chung was here because I had some choice words for him, like amongst Koreans. But needless to say, this is going to be a lot shorter than it was originally going to be. But if someone could kindly remind him that Korea was a country that was occupied by the Japanese for many years and is currently still under a form of occupation, regardless of whether they have their independence back. I understand that you folks are in a difficult position with this and, you know, being elected officials and all that. But, you know, I was really hoping to provide him with some context, you know, behind what he's doing. Since the North Korea resolution, I actually did go back to the homeland of our grandfathers. And I visited a prison in Seoul that was kept for independence activists during the occupation period and for democratization activists in South Korea up until about 1987, because Korea was actually a series of U.S.-backed dictatorships up until about 1987. And also I visited Jeju Island, where approximately this year is the 70th anniversary of the April 3rd massacre. About 30,000 people were killed by the United States and Republic of Korea governments because they wanted unification. They were against splitting the country in two. Now, and I was going to tell him this and remind him of these things if he didn't already know them. But I guess not. Well, and one other thing, while, you know, while we are allocating pillage money, please do award those grants to those Hawaiian organizations. Mahalo.
Thank you. And just so you know that Mr. Chung will probably have heard that either or review it. Thank you. Okay, if we could call Erwin Chase to the testifiers table. Is there Erwin Chase? Erwin Chase. If no Erwin Chase, I'm going to move to the next person. Okay. I'll try to call him again later. Claire Wilkin. Oh, okay. Erwin Chase is here. Okay, to the testifiers table. Ms. Kubat, if you could state your name for the record and then proceed.
Aloha, my name is Christine Kubat. Wow. Oh my gosh, this is really happening. We're really sitting here talking about this. Thank you, Jennifer. Anybody who knows Jennifer knows that she's a beautiful, caring, intelligent person, that she's brought this issue up because she really believes that it's important. And I'm stunned sitting here listening today to the sincerity and the way that people have presented this before you. And so I'm going to ask you all to respect that sincerity and to really do something. It's not enough for Mr. Kamehameha to say, it doesn't matter because I think so. That's not enough. Please don't accept that. Do something. Find people. And also find people who are not conflicted. I believe in Mr. Kamehameha. I believe he's a good person, but honestly, he's deeply conflicted because if he agrees with the position that's been taken by these people, he doesn't have a job. That's like the most basic form of conflict of interest that there is. So this is what I would do if I were you. I would find a way to reach out to experts who are not conflicted and to have them render an opinion that's backed by fact and actually addresses the issues that have been brought before you, and then proceed from there. It's the next step. It has integrity. Don't dismiss this. You know Jennifer. You know these good people. Don't just dismiss it. Yeah, wow, we're here.
Thank you. Okay, I'd like to call up Claire Wilkins to the table, testifiers table. Thank you. And Mr. Chase, if you could state your name for the record and then proceed. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Erwin Chase.
Can you put the mic a little closer? There you go.
Sorry.
Thank you.
My name is Erwin Chase, and I'm speaking on Resolution 66618. I guess the question is, using county taxpayers' money to hire an attorney because they don't agree with the judge's decision. I'm not pro-gun, I'm not anti-gun. I just don't like the idea that we're going to waste our taxpayers' money to fight a battle that is between this person and the state. Like I said, you know, it's about gun control, and like I said, I don't think taking our taxpayers' money to fight to take away a right from the people is good business. So I don't know where it's going to go or why they're doing it or anything about it, but that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Okay. Ms. Wilkins, if you could state your name for the record and then proceed. Thank you.
Aloha Elko. My name is Claire Ku'ule Wilkins. I'm so honored to be here today. This is my first official testament in this way, and if you'll notice on that little piece of paper, I just put comment. I did not feel Pono to fully say that I necessarily support or deny, because I understand that we all find ourselves in this place of conflict of interest, as Christine said. I have a birth certificate. I have a social security number. I'm technically American like that. My father was born in the territory. My grandma was born in the kingdom. Before that, we were still here. So we find ourselves in this same place again, and these people coming up again. I'm not even 30 years old. I'm a baby. And yeah, I could talk about you know, the small things that I try and know, and the small things that, oh yeah, I memorized this, you know, number that I can tell you so you can go look them up. But that's not why I'm here talking today. I'm really thankful that I have the opportunity just to sit in front of you and just to give my mana'o, small kind. Because I'm thankful for what you do. I have family that works county, family that works state. My father was chief of medicine on Maui for Kaiser Permanente for the past 30 years. He just retired this year. This is my family too. I'm so thankful you guys keep our roads good. You know, we have this electricity. We have these things available to us. But we can't keep forgetting what we already know is true. And the truth is that my grandma was born in the kingdom. My father was born in the territory. And I was born in America. How come, though? We was all born in the same place. I just want you guys to think about this a little bit. I'm just a kid. I don't have to know the numbers or be able to tell you these articles because you know them already. Everybody here been asking, like, oh yeah, just do your homework, you guys. Oh, I'm not saying you don't do your homework. I know you do. More than a lot of us. Guarantee you guys do a lot more. And so we find this, like, you know, I'm like almost about to cry, you know, like, ouch, like tearing me apart, these things. I love Jen. I know her personal. And I love you all. And I see you all around. And I thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, Brittany Neal. Do we have a Brittany Neal? Come to the testifiers table before you get started. I think we have one more testifier in Pahoa. Is that correct? Do you have a no testifier in Pahoa? Okay. So our last testifier right now is Brittany Neal. Go ahead and state your name for the record and then proceed.
Brittany Neal. So my name is Brittany Neal. I am a U.S. citizen, and I'm also a Hawaii national. I am a registered nurse, and I'm a mother. I currently reside in Mountain View, and as a U.S. citizen and a Hawaii national, I am a protected person as defined under Article 4 of the 1949 Fourth Geneva Convention. As a United States citizen, I am a protected person as defined by international criminal law in the Tadic Judgment of 1999 by the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia Appeals Chamber, which stated that civilians who are nationals of the occupying state are also protected persons because their allegiance while residing in the occupied state is in this case owed to the Hawaiian Kingdom and not the United States. Allegiance to the Hawaiian Kingdom by resident aliens is stated in Section 3, Chapter 6 of the Hawaiian Kingdom Penal Code. As a protected person, I too am a victim of war crimes and demand that this body immediately cease and desist. I realize that a lot of people's actions many years ago have contributed to the situation that we find ourselves in today. And I think that all we can do is try to do the best we can to make things right. And I would like to see that happen. Thank you for your time and your attention. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Okay, we have one last testifier in Kona. If you can state your name for the record and then proceed.
Okay, our last testifier here in Kona is Josephine Kali'ipo'o. You can comment on Bill 160. Go ahead and
Hi, good morning. My name is Josephine Kali'ipo'o, and I am here to testify on Bill 160. I want to say that I support Councilman Jen Ruggles for her courage in bringing up the status of the Hawaiian Kingdom, finally, after all these years. And I encourage the council to encourage Mr. Kamehameha to provide a legal opinion, and if he can't, then hire someone to do that for him. I think it's long past due. We need to address the issue. I'm very shocked that all the attorneys there that you have did not have the guts to bring this up earlier. So it's time, and thank you very much, Jennifer Ruggles, and that's all I need to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your testimony. Okay, I just got handed one more piece of paper for testifier. Brent, I can't make out your last name. Neil, okay. And you're testifying, I see on, is it 3 items?
Yeah, 3 items.
Are they all on the same subject you were speaking on, or what are you?
No, one is Resolution 66-18.
Okay.
And then one is on Resolution 160, and the other is, or Bill 160, I believe, and the other one
So
is.
I'll give you 6 minutes.
Okay.
Is that
thank you.
okay?
Yes.
Can you let us know when you're transitioning?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so first I guess I'll start with, let's see. 66-18. Basically, this one, I'm a farmer, and I live about an hour away from my farm, and there's lots of times when I come down the farm, and it's a fenced-in area, and there's pigs in the area that are either just destroying our crops or something like that, you know. Or we had pigs that unfortunately we had to get rid of because they got infected by wild pigs, diseases and stuff. And so there's times when I need to have guns to go down the farm and be handy. Right now, I can't take a gun just to the farm and stop to the store or do anything else. I have to go from point A to point B and call the cops and let them know that I'm going to the farm with a gun. So this would be really handy. The other thing too is there's a lot of people, right now we're in a meth epidemic, and there's a lot of people getting home invaded, their cars robbed, stuff like that. And I think this would help a lot of people that would be, they're on their own. There's people, we have friends in YPO, and there's times where they'll be like, okay, the cops will come out in about 2 weeks, and that's how long it takes to get. So you're on your own around here. Okay, I guess I'll transition to, I guess, 160? Or is that resolution 160? Basically, I don't have to, I find it kind of sickening that we have to bring this up and talk about it, because by default, I can't find it, but anyways, by default, oh, here it is. The county employees should all be accountable for what they're saying, always be truthful, and I think we should be held to a higher standard than the average citizen, you know, especially cops. And so, you know, they also, on the Hawaiian Nation side, I'm a Hawaiian nationalist. I do have Hawaiian ethnicity, and Clinton came out with the Apology Act, and it's a very known, it's a known fact now that the Hawaiian kingdom was stolen. And the last one is about, I'm also Portuguese, and you guys waste tons of money on crazy stuff, and so $2,000 to help out the Portuguese cultural thing, I think is a very worthwhile thing that we can't, it's a part of our culture around here, and so I think it's very important. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, at this time, I'm going to close public testimony. And do we want to take a recess? So we're going to take a brief, maybe 10-minute recess. We're in recess. Is the video ready? Okay. Okay. Like to call this meeting back to order. Okay, at this time, if no one has any objection, we're going to take a couple items out of order. Mr. Clerk, if we could go to Bill 177.
Bill 177 amends Section 25-8-19 North Hilo District Zone Map, Article 8, Chapter 25 Zoning Code of the Hawaii County Code 1983, 2016 edition as amended by changing the district classification from agricultural 20 acres A to 20A to agricultural 5 acres A 5A at Papaloa, North Hilo, Hawaii, covered by tax map key 35004-023, applicant Charles and Kitura Andrews, area approximately 11.06 acres. The Windward Planning Commission forwards its favorable recommendation for the change of zone, which would allow the applicant to apply for subdivision of the property into 2 lots. The applicant currently resides in a home on 1 lot and plan to convey the other lot to their children. Property is located on Kihalani Homestead Road, reference communication 1024, introduced by Ms. Eoff by request, approved PC-69.
Councilmember Eoff.
Move to approve Bill 177.
It's been moved by